I recently got my hands on the brand new Costco Kirkland signature irons. These bad boys look absolutely fantastic. They will set you back only $499. That's less than £400 here in the UK. But the big question is, just what can you really get for that money if you delved into the second-hand golf club market? You see, I don't think Kirkland are worried about people who are going to go and buy brand new Titleist, Callaway, Taylormade irons. I think the market they're trying to steal is that second-hand market. So I paid a visit to our friends at Golf Clubs for Cash, and I found a few different options that you could get for exactly the same money. And I actually opted for these, a pretty good condition set of Ping i500 irons. I wanted to look at something hollow-bodied. I wanted to look at the i500, something like this. That's what you would kind of look at compared to maybe the Kirkland as performance-wise. They're going to be a little bit out of... Oh, no. 356? I'd almost made my mind up with the clubs we're going to use, but these are almost too similar to be true, aren't they? Guys, how are these going to compare? Get in the comments below. How similar do they look as well, by the way? The reason I opted for these is because, well, they're exactly the same price, and you do get that hollow-bodied construction with a bit of tungsten weighting and a forged element. So realistically, these clubs are as similar as it can get. So just how are these clubs going to compare today? Very similar specs, incredibly similar price, but you would imagine the Ping should feel a little bit better, perform a little bit better, and maybe even give you a little bit better value for money. We'll kick things off with the long irons. This is a Kirkland 5 iron. Straight away, beautiful turf interaction, amazing ball flight, lovely high fade down the middle, which is exactly what you do want with a long iron that's potentially easy to hit. And looking at these clubs to compare, they are very similar looking with very similar elements. Looking down at them as well, looking at the faces of them, they are very similar blade length, very similar construction. The Ping just has that kind of brushed effect finish, whereas the Kirkland has that very shiny chrome effect. Will it stay that shiny? Who knows? Top line, these clubs do look very, very similar. The Ping actually looks a little bit more forgiving, which I wouldn't have thought, because at first glance on the Kirklands, I thought they looked incredibly forgiving. So I can almost forgive the looks a little bit more. Another similar ball flight, that's come out a little bit lower, a nice fade down that fairway, and that one's bounding on. Wasn't quite as good a strike, but for me the Kirkland actually felt a little bit softer than the i500. Let's go i500 again, then hit another Kirkland, because the big thing I want to see from these Pings is performance, is forgiveness, are these going to perform better? Because when these i500s were new, they will have been around double the price of the Kirklands. They're a little bit not in fantastic condition, but then what do you expect? That was a much better strike, a much better ball flight, and that one's going to be bang next to the first Kirkland that we did hit. So consistency wise, very, very impressive so far. Oh yeah. And as you would expect with two very similar strikes, two very similar outcomes down this fairway. And I must say, one of the most impressive elements about these Costco Kirkland signature irons are the components. You get an elevate shaft in there, a 115. This is a stiff. You also get a Lampkin 360 grip on here. And I think it's a really, really nice combination of a nice sleek looking head. The head is straight out of the Taylormade P790 workbook, isn't it? We can definitely all agree on that. But then Taylormade were first to the party with hollow-bodied performance irons. Then Ping came with the i500. We then saw the Cobra Forged Tech, and after that we've seen quite a few similar looking clubs. If I had to grade these, I think the Kirkland look a little bit better. I'm going to put it out there, it might be because they are new and shiny. In fact, it's probably definitely because of that. But I also think that's 2 for 2 with the Kirkland, with that gorgeous high fade down that fairway, and that is another one bang smack in the middle of the other shots that we've hit. I think this could get very interesting. We're going to test these for numbers as well and see just how much performance difference there really is. But I think really we have to be looking at the Kirkland as the underdog, don't we? Because these are brand new irons. One of the things that you're not getting here is that option of custom fit. We all know Ping's custom fit settings are phenomenal. They're probably the best in the game. but you're not getting that with a second-hand set. You can send these back to Ping if you did buy the i500s from Golf Clubs for Cash, and they will retrofit them or retro bend them, but you still don't know that's really the settings for you. And to be honest, if you went to buy the Kirkland irons and took them to your local pro who has a bending bar and could potentially order some shafts if that's what you really wanted, you could probably retrofit the Kirklands as well. So you're no better off really, whichever way you go, which is worth a thought. And I must admit, as groupings go, we had one Rogue One, which was the first Ping, which I didn't really catch, but it's still done well for distance. The other three are all very, very close together. You could pretty much throw a blanket, oh, I always do that. You could pretty much throw a blanket over those three shots, and you're not saving money, are you? When you buy these Kirklands, you're not saving money if you buy the second-hand Pings, but if you went to buy a brand new set of Ping i525s, that's going to cost you a lot of money, and you would save money with the Kirklands, but you could get fitted for the i525s and they might perform a little bit better for 3 times the price. And I find it really interesting because you could argue that Kirkland actually have more technology in these clubs than Ping, because Kirkland do claim these are a hollow body construction together with a gorgeous glossy finish. Look at that on the camera today in the sun. But they also feature a urethane insert and that tungsten weighting, as you can see in the toe. That is all designed to help you launch these irons with ease and get general great feel with a forged face and ultimate performance. And to be honest, they do it all while looking pretty good. I think the pitching wedge is probably the worst looking club of the set, to be honest, because I felt the blade length just looks a little bit too long and maybe a little bit too forgiving. But then for the people who are buying these clubs, is there such thing as something that looks too forgiving? Probably not. And one of the huge things I've really enjoyed and really come to enjoy after playing a few rounds with these Kirkland irons is the fact that you get that forgiveness. Like, I've hit that really badly out the toe. I've still got a nice turf interaction and it's easy to launch, it's easy to get up in the air. I don't feel like I'm losing too much feel or sound feedback with these clubs, but I still feel like it's getting up in the air. Numbers wise, we will discuss how forgiving these irons are towards the end of this video, but let's go Kirkland again, because that really just feels premium. And it's not premium, it's budget, it's cheap. $499 for a brand new set of forgiving hollow bodied irons is cheap nowadays anyway. And I'm quite glad that the Ping i500 was the club that we chose to compare these two, because I've always felt like Ping aren't always the best feeling golf clubs, aren't always the golf clubs I would necessarily go for if I wanted a set of forgiving clubs. But then a lot of people find them really forgiving and really attractive. So there's that. Are these easier to launch? Are they better feeling and sounding? I mean, that one did feel quite nice. It's okay to say that we have two fantastic feeling and two fantastic performing golf clubs, isn't it? Because essentially these are the same price. It's just that the Pings, that's turning a little bit, isn't it? The Pings are a little bit more expensive when they're brand new, but these aren't brand new. They're used heavily, so that's okay. And for me, there's some very similar ball flights and some very similar feels as well. And the fact that these Kirklands are starting to feel similar to a premium brand, such as a Ping or a Taylormade. I did want a set of P790s, to be honest, but I just couldn't get a set for the same price. Even a used set of 790s, you're looking at around £500, £600. So in dollars, obviously these irons are $499. You're talking $600, maybe more. You're paying a little bit more for a battered set of Taylormades, to be honest. The i500s were a steal, even though they don't come with a 4-iron, which is the catch. So you're not getting a 4-iron, but who wants a 4-iron and not a hybrid anyway at this level? Most people are going to have hybrids, aren't they? Now, when it comes to mid-irons, this test gets very, very interesting, because I always think the 7-iron is the club that a lot of people go and try, that go and get fitted for. 7-irons, especially in the Ping set, are in the fitting cart, so this is the iron that you would have tried if you wanted to get fitted for your set of Ping i500 irons. Now, don't get me wrong, I think this looks very, very nice. When the i500 first came out, it was a breath of fresh air from Ping and actually looked really, really nice. Now you throw in the Costco Kirkland 7-iron, which one looks better? Which one would you spend your money on? Bearing in mind you're spending pretty much the same money. I think it could be a very interesting market this year for the second-hand market, especially if these Costco Kirkland irons become more available. They've been a little bit like hen's teeth. People are charging $1,000 for these on eBay. I mean, you're absolute scammers if that's what you're doing. I'm all for making money, but that's ridiculous. These irons aren't worth $1,000. They are very much worth $499. And you can see that with the 7 irons, they look the same down at the ball. Apart from the i500 looking a little bit older, a little bit battered, the blade length the same, the top line's very similar, the offset's the same. I dare say if you put these next to a P790, you'd have that same ideology. I'd love to know, first of all, if we can hit the green here. You see, that's the shot that I've not hit very well, but it's still got up okay, and that one is just short left of the green. But I'd love to know if Kirkland are going to release a 770 version, a smaller version, a more compact version. Kirkland are going hard into the golf market. The golf balls have been great, the gloves are fantastic, the clubs are pretty good and getting there if they're not pretty good. So would they go into the more players market? But then I suppose you'd be talking about club fitting, and they don't offer that yet. That's better. That's the better one. That's the one where it's a really strong ball flight, and that's the one where I feel like this shaft really comes into play. The Elevate 115 is a stock shaft you actually get in Callaway irons as well, so it's not like the skimping on components for you. And it says a lot that I'm more excited to hit the Kirkland than I am the Ping. That does kind of speak volumes. Let's see if we can hit one nice and close. Ooh, you know what? The Ping does look better down at the ball. For me, being a slightly better ball striker, I don't know, it looks a little bit more refined, and I really like that white groove in the bottom. That's something Ping are renowned for. And that, it does just feel a bit better. I'm just getting a bit more feedback. I'm just getting that a little bit more. That's safely aboard the green on the front edge. That's the shot that kind of makes you think, yeah, Ping have been around a while, haven't they? This isn't their first rodeo, whereas Kirkland's, it is. It's a carbon copy. It's a consistency-wise, the Ping's very impressive, which is always going to be, isn't it? Those balls are bang next to each other on the green. Guys, let's jump in the studio. Let's see how these clubs did compare head-to-head on the GolfSwan launch monitor, and let's see if potentially you should buy brand new Kirklands or second-hand Pings. And having tested these clubs inside to check for ball speed, spin rate, distance and everything pretty much you want to see, one of the big differences I saw, because you can really see the ball flight on the GolfSwan simulator, was the ability to control that trajectory, control that peak height. With the Kirklands, it just kind of did what it wanted to do almost depending on the strike, and with the i500s I really felt like I could just control that ball flight a little bit better, generally because of the spin. You can see the numbers here for the Kirkland irons: 5 iron ball speeds 131, 119 and 101 for the pitching wedge. The pitching wedge was a really low ball speed actually, and it really did suffer. I don't know why. It was a bit of a lack of inconsistency, but all in all, if you compare these numbers now looking at the Ping i500s, a little bit more ball speed across the ball for the Pings. Distance wise, pretty similar, but spin rate's a little bit more manageable as well. The big difference really was the pitching wedge for me. I don't know why I couldn't really hit the Kirkland pitching wedge, but consistently it wasn't quite as good as the Pings. So guys, there you have it, even close when it comes to the numbers, comparing these brand new Costco Kirkland irons and a set of second-hand Ping i500s from our friends at Golf Clubs for Cash. I think it's going to be interesting. I certainly think it's going to stir up the market. Do you want brand new golf clubs that look shiny for now, or do you want something that is a little bit more tried and tested and might last you maybe a little bit longer, even though it's second-hand? Guys, thanks for watching. Smash that subscribe button. Lots more to come. If you want to see me take on 18 holes with just Kirkland equipment, then make sure you stay tuned and hit that subscribe button, because that's coming. But apart from that, I'll see you all at exactly the same time tomorrow. I'm going to continue playing because I'm really enjoying these golf clubs. See you then. Goodbye.